There are truths about Christ that never reached the pews of churches, teachings so revolutionary that they were erased from official history. Cayce brought to light an age-old secret. Jesus did not come merely to be worshipped as a distant icon, but to awaken in every human soul the divine spark that already exists within us. What you will discover today is not just spiritual theory. It is a concrete technique, an inner path that has been deliberately hidden because it liberates humankind from any external dependence. Prepare your heart, for this journey goes beyond blind faith and delves into direct experience with the sacred. When Jesus proclaimed that the kingdom of heaven was near, he wasn't talking about a geographical place in the clouds or a reward after death. Cayce decoded this message with crystal clarity. The kingdom is a vibrational state of consciousness, a frequency that can be reached here and now, in this body, in this life. This recognition was too dangerous for the power structures of the time because it meant that no intermediary would be necessary between you and God. No stone temple, no religious hierarchy, no external ritual could replace the direct connection that already pulsates at the center of your being. Jesus taught that each person carries within themselves the totality of the divine, waiting only to be recognized and awakened. This truth was distorted, fragmented, and hidden throughout the centuries because it represented a threat to institutional control. Imagine a world where each individual discovers that they carry God within themselves. There would be no more need for guilt, fear, or external submission. The forbidden teaching was simple and devastating. You don't need to seek outside what already dwells within. The key was to turn your gaze inward, delve into the inner temple, and recognize that divinity has never been separate from you. This was the silent revolution that Jesus proposed, and that is precisely why the teaching needed to be silenced. Among the deepest secrets revealed by Cayce was a seemingly simple technique, yet of extraordinary power: conscious breathing as a portal to spiritual connection. According to Cayce's readings, Jesus used ancient methods of breath control that he learned during his years with the Essenes, that mystical community that preserved millennia of knowledge about the union between body, mind, and spirit. Each inhalation and exhalation was not merely a mechanical act, but a living prayer, a sacred movement capable of harmonizing internal vibrations and opening a direct channel between the human and the divine. When you breathe with full intention, aware that each atom of air carries vital energy, something extraordinary happens in your energy field. Breathing becomes a bridge, a golden thread connecting your limited consciousness to infinite consciousness. It was through this practice that Jesus was able to raise his frequency to the point of manifesting what people called miracles: instantaneous healings, profound transformations, mastery over the physical elements. But these were not miracles in the supernatural sense. They were demonstrations of what happens when a human being fully aligns their vital energy with the Creator source. The technique consisted of breathing deeply through the nose, holding the breath for a few seconds while visualizing light filling every cell of the body, and then exhaling slowly through the mouth, releasing all density, all fear, all separation. Repeated with devotion and total presence, this simple practice had the power to completely transform the state of consciousness. The Essenes guarded this knowledge as a sacred treasure, passing it on only to those who demonstrated spiritual readiness. And Jesus, perfectly mastering this inner science, used it not as an exclusive privilege, but as a demonstration of the potential that exists in every human being. Have you ever stopped to think why something so powerful was kept secret for so long? If this technique really works, why wasn't it taught openly? Leave a like if you're starting to understand the magnitude of what was hidden, and share it with someone who needs to know this truth. At the center of the human brain lies a small gland, the size of a pea, the pineal gland, which mystical traditions of all ages have called the third eye, or eye that sees beyond form. Cayce revealed that Jesus deeply understood the spiritual science of this gland and taught his closest disciples how to awaken it through silent meditation and inner concentration. This was not an abstract belief, but a concrete technique for energetic activation. The process involved sitting in absolute silence, closing the physical eyes and directing all attention to the center of the forehead, slightly above the space between the eyebrows. There, at that point of stillness, one began to visualize a soft light, like a small golden flame that pulsed gently. With constant practice, this inner light began to expand, to grow, to gain intensity. The disciples reported feeling a spiritual warmth rising up the spine, an energy that ascended from the base to the top of the head, like a serpent of light ascending through the central channel of the body. This warmth wasn't physical in the common sense, it was an energetic sensation, a vibration indicating that the spiritual centers were being activated. When the energy reached the pineal gland, what mystics called the opening of the inner eye occurred. A sudden expansion of perception, an ability to see beyond material appearances, to access more subtle dimensions of reality. It was in this elevated state that Jesus was able to perceive people's true needs, read the contents of the human heart, and see the karmic patterns that needed to be dissolved. This was the perfect fusion between the science of the spirit and the physical body, Christ awakening in his own flesh, transforming a common biological organism into a living temple of the divine presence. The technique wasn't exclusive to Jesus. He taught it to demonstrate that we can all reach this state of expanded consciousness. But this knowledge needed to be kept secret because it represented total spiritual autonomy, and autonomy has always been seen as a threat by control structures. Before we continue, if you're enjoying our content and would like to support our work and become part of our exclusive community, become a channel member. Besides helping us continue bringing you amazing content, you'll have access to special benefits. Click the button, become a member, and join us. Cayce brought a surprising revelation about the hidden power in sacred names, especially the name Jesus. According to his readings, this name was not merely a personal identifier, but a specific sound frequency, a vibration capable of harmonizing energy fields and dissolving blockages that impede the free flow of divine energy. In the Hebrew tradition, the original name Yeshua carried within its syllables a sacred sonic geometry, a vibrational code that, when pronounced with intention and reverence, created waves of energy capable of transforming both the one who pronounced it and the surrounding environment. The true secret lay in using sound as a bridge between the individual soul and the universal spirit. Jesus taught his disciples to enter a deep meditative state and repeat the sacred name, not mechanically or automatically, but with total presence, feeling each syllable resonate in the chest, in the heart, in the cells of the body. This is what Eastern traditions would call a mantra, but Jesus revealed it centuries earlier in the context of Jewish and Essene wisdom. When the repetition was performed with love and absolute concentration, something extraordinary happened. The energetic knots that imprisoned emotional traumas began to dissolve, the dense layers of guilt and fear vanished, and the human being experienced an inexplicable lightness, as if an invisible weight had been removed from their shoulders. Cayce explained that this was an authentic spiritual technology, as precise and effective as any modern science, but operating at frequencies that materialistic science cannot yet measure. The problem was that calling it divine science threatened the religious monopoly on the sacred. If people discovered that they could use sounds, intentions, and vibrations to access higher states of consciousness, they would no longer need to depend on external rituals controlled by authorities. Therefore, this practice was labeled heresy, hidden in the shadows, preserved only among mystical groups who swore secrecy. But Cayce brought this knowledge back, showing that true religion is not in dogmas, but in direct experience with the spiritual laws that govern creation. One of the most revolutionary truths that Jesus taught, and which Cayce brought to light again, was the understanding of the human body, not as something inferior or sinful, but as the sacred altar where God chooses to dwell. This view was radically different from the mentality that saw the body as a prison of the soul, or as a source of temptation and downfall. Jesus taught that the physical body is the perfect temple, the instrument through which divine consciousness can express itself in the material dimension. And like any sacred temple, it needs to be honored, purified, and maintained in a state of harmony. The secret technique included a set of practices that today we would call a holistic lifestyle. Vibrational nutrition, that is, foods that carry high life force, not just chemical nutrients. Inner silence to quiet the constant mental noise that prevents spiritual connection. And emotional harmony so that the body is not continually bombarded by destructive waves of anger, resentment, or fear. Cayce explained that each negative emotion leaves a mark on the body's energy field, creating blockages that eventually manifest as physical illnesses. Therefore, Jesus taught purity of thought not as rigid moralism, but as essential spiritual hygiene. The goal of this practice was to raise the body's vibrational frequency to such a high point that it became transparent to divine light, a pure channel through which healing energy could flow not only to oneself, but to all who approached. This is why Jesus' mere presence had a therapeutic effect. His physical body vibrated at such a high frequency that it automatically harmonized the energy field of those nearby. This was not a quality exclusive to him, but a latent possibility in every human being. When you honor your body as a temple, when you nourish each cell with conscious intention, when you purify your thoughts and harmonize your emotions, you raise your frequency and also become an instrument of healing in the world. But this teaching needed to be hidden because it empowered ordinary people too much, taking control out of the hands of those who profited from the belief that only special figures, anointed by the institution, could be channels of the divine. Now tell me, are you willing to transform your body into a true sacred temple? Leave a comment if you felt this truth resonate in your heart. And don't forget to share so that more people can discover this path of transformation. When Jesus spoke of love, he wasn't referring to romantic feelings, fleeting emotions, or the possessive attachment we often confuse with love. Cayce revealed that the love taught by Christ was a transformative vibration, an energetic frequency capable of dissolving the density of fear, which is the root of all human suffering. This love wasn't something you simply felt. It was something you became. It was a state of being, a quality of presence that naturally emanated from those who had aligned their consciousness with the divine source. Jesus radiated a kind of love that didn't judge, didn't condemn, didn't separate. It was a love that saw through outward appearances and recognized the divine spark even in those whom society considered lost or impure. When a person entered the vibrational field of this love, something profound happened. The ego's defenses began to crumble, the masks we wear to protect ourselves dissolved, and the true soul could finally emerge. This is what people experienced in the presence of Jesus. Not a moralistic sermon, but such a pure vibration of unconditional acceptance that they felt safe to show who they truly were. Cayce explained that when consciousness aligns completely with this frequency of pure love, the ego, that part of us that lives in the illusion of separation, simply dissolves. And when the ego dissolves, the true miracle arises. Communion with the whole, the direct perception that we have never been separate from the source, that we have always been an integral part of the one consciousness that permeates all creation. This was the part of the teaching that most frightened religious and political authorities, because conscious love means total liberation. A person living in this state cannot be controlled by guilt, cannot be manipulated by fear, cannot be imprisoned by external dogmas. They simply are, in harmony with all that exists. And an entire population living in this state of conscious love would render obsolete all structures based on control, hierarchy, and separation. Therefore, the teaching was distorted, transformed into moral rules and external obligations, when in reality it was an invitation to a total inner revolution. We now arrive at the practical core of the secret teaching, the specific technique that Jesus used and which has been preserved in Cayce's readings. It was a straightforward method, without unnecessary complexity, but which demanded dedication and total presence. The practice consisted of sitting comfortably, closing your eyes, and concentrating all your attention on the center of your chest, in the space of the spiritual heart, not the physical organ, but the energy center that exists just behind the breastbone. There, in that point of stillness, you begin to visualize a small golden light, as if a sacred flame had been lit on the altar of your heart. At first, this light may seem weak, trembling, difficult to maintain in inner vision, but with constant practice day after day it begins to gain strength, to grow, to pulsate with greater intensity. You feel it not only in your imagination, but as a real presence, a tangible vibration in the center of your being. Then, when the light is established in the heart, you allow it to expand. Slowly, gently, you visualize this golden light growing in concentric circles, enveloping first your chest, then your abdomen, neck, head, arms, legs, until your entire body is enveloped in this radiant sphere of light. Cayce stated that when this visualization is sustained for a few minutes, not with tense effort but with relaxed and focused presence, something extraordinary occurs, merging with the divine presence. At that moment, you are no longer just imagining light. You become the light itself. Your individual consciousness expands and temporarily merges with universal consciousness. It is an experience of mystical union, of dissolving the boundaries of the ego, of direct perception of the fundamental unity of all existence. This technique was the direct gateway to the inner Christ, the quickest way to awaken the sleeping divinity within each human being. And that is precisely why it was censored by religious authorities throughout the centuries. Because if people discovered they could have this experience on their own, in their own homes, without needing elaborate temples, intermediary priests, or complex rituals, the entire spiritual power structure would crumble. The technique was dangerously simple. Just you, your heart, light, and silence. Nothing else was needed. If this message is touching your heart and bringing new reflections to your life, know that each video we create here is made with great care and dedication. Our purpose is to spread spiritual knowledge, help more people awaken to their true essence, and strengthen this community of truth seekers. If this content made a difference to you, imagine how many souls can be enlightened by this same message. Here on YouTube, there's a simple and special way to support us. Through the button. It was totally worth it. This is a way to show that this content had a real impact on your life and to help us continue producing quality materials, bringing knowledge and inspiration to those who need it most. Every contribution, no matter how small, is a gesture of gratitude and love, and makes all the difference in allowing us to continue this mission. But regardless of anything else, the most important thing is your presence here. Your engagement, your comments, and your support are the energy that keeps this community alive and growing. If you can contribute, we will receive it with open hearts and immense gratitude. If you can't, your positive vibes and participation are already a great gift. Together, we are spreading more light, more love, and more knowledge to the world. Thank you so much for being a part of this journey. May your journey be filled with growth, learning, and connection with the divine. The ultimate goal of all this secret teaching was not to create devout followers of Jesus, but to awaken living Christs, human beings who have fully realized the divine potential that dwells within each of us. Cayce explained with crystal clarity that we all carry within us the same Christ spark that Jesus manifested so perfectly. The difference lies not in essence, but only in the degree of awakening. Jesus was not a distant God who descended from heaven to be worshipped from afar. He was a human being who achieved the complete realization of his divine nature and came to show the way so that we can all do the same. This was the revolutionary message that has been systematically erased from official teachings. You don't need to follow Jesus as an external idol. You need to become like him, awakening the Christ that already exists within you. Each technique revealed in this teaching, conscious breathing, activation of the pineal gland, vibration of the sacred name, the body as a temple, conscious love, inner light, all converge on this single objective: to activate the dormant Christ spark through the constant practice of heightened consciousness and harmonic vibration. Cayce emphasized that the secret lay not in blind faith, in believing without questioning, but in direct experience with the divine. It is not enough to believe that you are a spiritual being. It is necessary to experience this truth firsthand, to feel the energy flowing through you, to live expanded states of consciousness, to manifest in your daily life the fruits of this inner connection. When you awaken the Christ within you, everything changes. It is no longer a matter of believing or hoping. It is direct knowledge, an unshakable certainty that comes from lived experience. You know you are divine. You know you carry within you all the power of the universe. You know there is no separation between you and God. And when you know this at the deepest level of your being, your life becomes a constant demonstration of this truth. You no longer need to prove anything to anyone. You no longer need to seek external validation. You no longer need to live in fear of not being enough. You simply are. And in this state of fullness, you naturally become a channel of healing, transformation, and light for everyone around you. Now that you know the secret teaching that has been deliberately silenced for centuries, the question that remains is profound and personal. Are you truly ready to awaken the Christ within you? This is not a journey for those seeking comfort in passivity or security in established beliefs. It is a path for the courageous, for those who dare to look beyond the walls built by institutional religion and delve into the sacred temple that exists within their own hearts. The invitation has been made. and the technique has been revealed. But only you can take the decisive step of putting it into practice in your life. If you felt the vibrant energy of this teaching resonate in your heart, leave a comment saying "I am light," so that this vibration multiplies and reaches all those who need to hear this truth. Share this video with someone who is seeking genuine spiritual answers, someone who feels that there is something more beyond repeated dogmas. And above all, always remember, the true temple is not in any stone building. It pulsates alive within you, waiting only for you to have the courage to enter. Activate the Christ. Live the truth. The transformation begins now.